Yo, how's it going, guys? In today's video, I'll be going over some proper sequencing for this deck to get the most advantage you can. Here's the deck list. If you want to see my deck profile video, I'll leave a link to that in the description. One change I did was I put in one Nibiru over one Joker, and you'll see why towards the middle to end of this video. Alright, getting right into things, you can see our opponent has selected going second here. So starting off with this hand, we have a lot of gas here that we can consider. So Dark Worm gets us a search, Joker gets us a search, Wakawashi leads into the full, Super Heavy Line, Drag Shrine gets us Dark Worm to the grave, and we even have access to our Zefra engine here. So what would you lead with here? Now you consider going for your normal summons first if you wanted to, but the way that this deck is built is we prioritize the super heavy line first. So you could try to bait and ash or something with the Oracle if you wanted here, but Shrine turns off this, and you want to commit your normal summon after you make the Boral Savage Fear negate. So starting off here with the super heavy line, we're using this to just eat any disruption to let the rest of our stuff resolve. So we're going to just link this off right here, fast forward this a little bit, grab the motorbike here, and now we discard the Dark Worm because it has an effect in the graveyard, and we get Veilered on the Scarecrow. Now this isn't actually as bad as you might think, because we already do have the motorbike here, so we're going to resolve that and grab our Soul Peacemaker anyways here. Just going to send away the link since we can't link it off anyways. And now using the scales, we're going to revive the motorbike as per usual, level modulate it, and go straight into our negate here. So now for a normal summon, we get to commit the Joker here, search for the Revolution. Revolution's going to activate here to grab another Dark Worm. We're going to go search for our Zefrath as our high scale, and in order to get our Zefranu into rotation here, go for the pen summon. Of course, we're going to pen summon the Zefranu from the extra deck and the Dark Worm here from our hand. It's going to get us both of the searches, and we have an Omni Negate, but we'd prefer to not waste on an Ash Blossom that might be late here, so we're going to chain block the Zefranu on chain link 1 anyways. Gonna go straight for our Electromite here as per usual. Send the Astrograph, and we're gonna pop our low scale because we have the Supreme King Gate Magician in hand here. Randomly draw into the motorbike. And now make sure we do the interaction between the Gate Magician and the Astrograph, but our opponent does surrender here already. Alright, so if you guys would like to sequence the hand in your head or in a simulator or something, feel free to just keep the video paused right here. So this actually is a really crazy hand that lets us get out an Appaloosa and a Vortex before we even commit to our Pendulum summon. So what we're going to do is we want to have the Sky Iris pop the Ignis Phoenix. That gives us a ton of advantage early, and in order to bait out an Ash, we're going to go ahead and lead with the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, as this is not the most valuable right now for us. So we normal summon the Dark Worm. There's no hand traps that are coming out, so we're going to go and commit for an early Appaloosa before our pen summon in case they have in Nibiru. Gonna search the Necro Valley already, pitch the Droll as it doesn't help us combo any further. And now we go straight into Electromite here. We're gonna use this to search out the Astrograph. We're gonna use the Oracle for a Zefrath here, which we're gonna pop to get back the Astrograph. But the cool thing here is we can summon out the Astrograph here. Search another Zefrath, and now when we link these off into Exceed, we can actually go ahead and just grab back our Astrograph, which happens to not be once per turn. Revolution here is going to go ahead and search us a high scale, and now we can still do the Gate Magician plus Astrograph interaction here. We're going to go ahead, summon out the Astrograph, grab another Gate Magician, and now since we do have Supreme King Gate 0 in our scale, we get to actually summon this guy out, resolve his search, go straight into the Absolute Dragon, and now we can link this off into an Appaloosa for 2 materials, giving us 3 arrows and 2 monster negates, as well as grabbing us a Vortex here for another Omni negate. Now we can scale the Zefrath. Now we use the effect. This is a once per turn, so it's important we didn't use it before when we were going to pop it. And now we grab Zefranu here. We have the Dark Worm. We get a ton of advantage here, a ton of bodies here. And what we can do, since we do have links in the graveyard and the Light Worm is a tuner, we still get to go for our Boral Savage here for another negate with 3 counters on it. And we're just going to go ahead and link these off into an IP, put the Zefranu in the extra deck here, so we can just go ahead and banish it off the Divine Strike. We're just going to use the Wings of Light here. It is a hard one, so top decking it kind of sucks. It is still a good top deck, so you can also consider just keeping it in your hand. And we're going to end on this crazy board with 5 negates. I'm going to go ahead. The Garura will check our Divine Strike, so we're just going to go ahead and negate this. Also, since we do negate the activation of the card, you can see that it goes to the graveyard because it was never actually on the field. Our opponent's going to use an Endymion Servant, which isn't threatening by itself right now. Once it has counters, we can still negate it or remove it from the field. So we're just going to let this go. And now they scale the Mighty Master, which we're going to go ahead and negate and destroy this. And because we negate the activation, it is going to go to the graveyard as well, keeping them off of the pen summon. Scale Second Servant, we don't care. Spellpower Master gives a ton of advantage, so we're just going to go ahead and negate it. They have 1 card in hand, their scales are screwed, they don't have enough spell counters, so the game is just over, and they're going to surrender here. Alright, so our hand unfortunately does look super garbage here, but if you know what you're doing, this hand is actually really disgustingly good, as a matter of fact. You see we have the Brick Soul Piercer here, we have the Destrudo, which would prefer to just send from the deck to the graveyard. We have the Ignis Phoenix, which is a great card if you can find a way to pop it. And then we have Zefrath plus Oracle. Now the Oracle is great, we're going to lead with it, it could maybe bait an Ash, and if it resolves, we get our Zefranu, which means that our Zefrath is actually not as necessary anymore. So in lines that discard from the hand, like the Majesty Pegasus or something, you can always pitch the Destrudo, of course, but now we also have the option to just discard the Zefrath, as this will enable us to just get a different high scale since we already have access to our counter trap now. So the way we're going to actually play this out is we have a field spell up and we have the Ignis Phoenix in hand. So we're just going to normal the Soul Pierce Maker and use the Destrudo to go ahead and make an Ancient Fairy Dragon. Now, this card is going to give us so much advantage here because we get to pop the field spell, and now we go for the Sky Iris. You might be thinking, why not go for the Necro Valley? Isn't that part of our end board? So the great thing about this is, because we have the Ignis Phoenix, we can actually go ahead and scale that one, and now pop it with the Sky Iris, giving us a search. And we also get to special summon out the Majesty Pegasus here for the Necro Valley, pitching the unnecessary Zefrath that we have here. And now the Odd Eyes will get us the Dark Worm, which has a great on-summon effect. We've already spent our normal summon, but Ancient Fairy Dragon has another effect here, letting us special summon a level 4 or lower monster from our hand at the cost of our battle phase. It's going to get us into our Gate Magician. Now we go for Electromite. And this is where I slightly missequence things. Of course, we're going to send the Astrograph, and we would love to get out the Astrograph plus the Supreme King Gate Magician interaction. Now, it's not entirely necessary because just the Astrograph plus the Ancient Fairy Dragon will already get us to our Vortex, because those are both 7s. So the way to play this a bit better than what I did here is we actually scale the Zefranu, and we would pop that. And then we go for the interaction between the Astrograph and the Gate Magician. That way we also get to summon out another body for free here and go for an Apo after the Vortex. We're never punished here because we pray to the Pen Gods, and we just find the second copy of the Gate Magician off of our Electromite. Well, the third copy, I guess. So fortunately, we actually get 4 bodies here, plus our high scale, and now we can just go straight for the Apo, as well as the Vortex. So this means we already have 4 negates set up, we have our Necro Valley in hand already, we have our scale set up, and we have access to our counter trap, all before our Pendulum Summon. So if we had popped the Zefrabomination, this would be in the extra deck, and our random draw would be in the hand. So what we should be doing here is from the extra deck, we will pen summon Zefrabomination and 2 level 4s. And then from our hand, whatever we draw. The reasoning here is what we could do is make a rank 4 Gallant Granite here, which can search for Nibiru. Now, we weren't running Nibiru at this point. We did add it later during this day of testing. But that would be a really great addition to this end board in case something goes horribly wrong. We still have that blowout card to help deal with whatever they have. And as you would see, we can just still use the IP plus the Gallant Granite then to make our SP without losing our Apo or our Vortex. So our opponent's on the cute tech with Spell Absorption in Valmonica, but unfortunately against this board, they simply just don't have a chance, and they will just be surrendering this game. Alright, so why learn from your own mistakes when you can learn from mine? Once again, we did a slight missequence here. I'll be pointing it out. It'll happen in just a second here. But we could have searched for Nibiru again, which wasn't in the deck at this time. But we did add it after this game, actually. So we're going to be special summoning out the Supreme King Gate Magician, going into our Electromite. And here we have to decide what we're going to pop to get our Astrograph. So we obviously don't want to pop the Lightworm because Astrograph can't add another copy of that to our hand since we're only running one of it. So it's either the Zefrabomination or the Majesty. And the correct play here would have been to pop the Majesty. You'll see why in just a bit here. I'm going to go ahead and pop this. Grab the Astrograph, activate its effect, summon it out. And since we did pop the Supreme King Gate Magician, we're going to be adding another copy of that here, which is incorrect here. We should be adding another copy of the Majesty here since we already have 3 level 7s in rotation and we only ever need 2 to make our rank 7 Absolute Dragon. Drawing a completely dead card in the Soul Peacemaker here. Going to go into the Exceed the Pendulum. This is going to let us make our Appaloosa before our Pendulum Summon, giving us 3 arrows and protection from Nibiru here. So we're going to go right for it here. And now when we Pendulum Summon, this is where our slight misplay is going to come up here. So of course we're going to summon the Zefrabomination. We're going to of course summon a Majesty here. And we have 3 7s. So if instead of one of these 7s, we actually had another level 4. Remember, you can't use the Luster Pendulum as Exceed material except for Draco Slayers. So if we had 2 Majesty Pegasus in rotation, because the Astrograph would have added the other one, because Electromite popped one of them, then we could actually make another rank 4 here, which would be the Gallant Granite. And we could use that to search in Nibiru just for some extra disruption or insulation. Also, don't forget, if we have the SP, it will come back in the main monster zone, giving us 2 additional link zones, as well as freeing up the extra monster zone. And we get to just also remove something like our Vortex Dragon, then Nibiru the entire board. And then in the end phase, our SP comes back with 3 extra deck pen summon zones, as well as our Omni Negate. So it would be really great here just to have on top of our board. Now, fortunately, this is just going to be enough. I'm kind of afraid here, but the Necro Valley kind of removes all my fear. The Horus card's just completely dead there, and our opponent surrenders. Alright, so we actually have 3 reasons to show off this replay. Now I have a missequence, a misplay, and I want to show off why we're even running the Gallant Granite if we don't have Nibiru. So first things first, right at the beginning, I feel like it's a missequence to lead with the motorbike. If they have the Ash Blossom, maybe they'll just use it here, right? That would be great. But if they decide to hold it on this because they want to hit the Benkei or something later, now they know I already have the follow-up here. So there's no point in wasting an Ash on a Benkei. This would be really great if they Ash this instead, because we would then just use the motorbike to search for the Soul Piercer and they just lose a card in hand for free. Optimal case. We also don't want to lead with the Revolution Dragon because it gives us a free +1, because we get to resolve this after we actually get our Omni Negate set up. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do right here. Scales here, level modulate, go for our Boral, search for another Wakaushi here. Now we have our Omni Negate live. We'll use the Revolution here for a Dark Worm. This is where we normal summon, get some free advantage, and now we go and make our Gallant Granite here. And we get to search for a rock monster, and as it just so happens, Zefrath is actually a rock monster. So just off of Wakaushi, we even get our counter trap Omni Negate into rotation. Now the other misplay here is I should have pen summoned one Wakaushi less actually. So let's look at this game state here. We would have a zone free here and we would have a Wakaushi in hand. So what we would do then is when we search for Necro Valley, we actually keep the Gate Magician here and we pitch a Wakaushi. And now when we go for Electromite here, we're going to add the Astrograph, of course, and then we could actually pop our low scale and not use the Astrograph. And then we would scale our Gate Magician. We would activate its effect to place the Gate 0. That would summon out the Astrograph. We would have another zone free, which we could then summon our Supreme King Gate Magician into. And then we could make our rank 7 here. And using that, we could then have our Vortex on top of this board. So instead, we're going to go for the IP here. And then we're just going to go ahead and make the Appaloosa and end on this board. Still formidable, definitely. So our opponent here is going to lead with the Hero Lives. Now, the reason I let this resolve is if Stratos wants to search, we can always just hit the search target with a negate later on. If he opts to hit the back row, then we'll just negate him, right, with the Appaloosa. And we only have 2 Omni Negates here now. If we had the Vortex, I might have considered hitting this, but we get punished by another copy of it. And since Heroes is generally a blind second deck, they often have powerful cards we want to have our Omni Negate, especially the counter trap for, such as the Droplets, or even if the Talents or something. I definitely want to be hitting that instead. So I don't feel threatened by any of this stuff yet because it doesn't actually kill me. This gives a ton of advantage, and they go -1 when using it already. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. And now they're going to activate something I definitely want to negate. This card not only searches for the Plasma, which pretty much forces my Divine Strike to come out because it's just skill drain, right? It also gives a ton of protection where I can't target stuff with card effects, and Plasma gains a ton of attack, is protected from destruction of card effects, so the Divine Strike doesn't actually even do anything, and it even gets a second attack. So we're definitely going to go ahead and negate that. It is a continuous, but since we're negating the activation of the card, not of the effect, it's going to go straight to the graveyard because it basically never hits the field, kind of like Solemn Judgment on a summon. They're going to go straight into Trinity. Its effect to gain the attack is not an activated effect, it just gets more attack. So they're going to go battle phase here after I negate this, and then we're going to use our IP together with the Apo. The reason we don't use the Savage to make the SP, even though we would keep more zones, is because it'll just be over the Apo with 800. So we're definitely going to remove this big beater here. We're going to go swing into the SP. Now they're going to commit a bit further. And since they're on, this is our last card, right? We're just going to go flip the Divine Strike, which is kind of pointless because Necro Valley would just negate it anyways. But this just gets everything out of the way. We have full knowledge. We know there's nothing in the graveyard that does anything. Technically Denier, I guess, but that will just get negated by Necro Valley. And we already have Scales set up for next turn with at least 2 monsters to summon out. And our opponent's already at half health, so they're just dead here. All right. Thanks for watching all the way. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Help me out with the algorithm. And in the next video, I'll be showing you guys some playthrough disruption like hand traps or full boards. All right, see ya.